Well, to discuss this further, Amir Oren joins me now live from Tel Aviv. He's a columnist at Israeli newspaper Haaretz. Thank you very much, Amir, for joining us here on TRT World. Now, despite Netanyahu delaying the controversial judicial reform, protests still continue. So does that perhaps indicate that the damage has been done to the Netanyahu premiership?
Yes, a lot of damage has been done to Netanyahu's premiership. He's trying to portray it as a pause, as a delay, but actually what happened is that he suffered a devastating defeat. This is not a pause. This is not just the first half of the game, which will be renewed soon or will go into extra time. The game is over and Netanyahu lost, because if he tries to revive it, we will see the general strike and the mass protests again, and he knows that he is not powerful enough to override them.
Okay, when you say that he knows he's not powerful enough to override this, so this move by Netanyahu, this latest move by Netanyahu to delay the reform, is it to buy more time so that he can come up with some other ideas?
It's to buy face more than time. Of course, time is of the essence too, because next week, the Knesset, our parliament, will go on holiday for a month. And ostensibly, during this month, there will be talks with the opposition. But the protesters are not represented by the opposition. This was a spontaneous resistance. And if they are not satisfied with what is happening during the next month, during April, they will go to the streets again. So Netanyahu knows that there is no chance for the judicial overhaul proposal to be revived.
Right, but Amir, these proposed reforms do not come out of nowhere. Figures from across political spectrum have in the past called for changes in Israel's judiciary. So what is your navigation through this?
But you see, the general public feels that this was imposed on it out of the blue. This was not an issue in the election campaign, which culminated last November, nor was it presented by Netanyahu as one of his top 4 agenda items when he established his cabinet. And all of a sudden, this has been unleashed on the public. Some people do support some proposals for fixing the judiciary, but not necessarily in this direction. Some people want completely other ideas. So it was only a pretext by Netanyahu to take over the judiciary and have it subservient to the executive.
Now, Amir, put things into context for us. Certainly a lot has happened over the past few months in Israel. We have seen protests one after another. Now, Netanyahu has delayed the controversial judicial reform. Now, you are suggesting that things are going to continue the way they are right now, perhaps even get worse in the coming days. So if, I'm speculating right now, if this judicial reform does take Netanyahu out of power, what does it mean for the future of the political landscape of Israel?
Well, in order to oust a sitting prime minister, it is very difficult under the Israeli system because the opposition must present an alternative prime minister. Not only win a vote of no confidence, but must present an alternative leader, and this is improbable under current conditions. But his own coalition partners may decide that this is the right time for them to call for new elections because they will gain power, and Likud, the leading party in power right now, will probably lose a lot of its own power. So there may be a convergence of various vectors and various forces to force new elections, early elections, in addition to which there is the security situation. This latest round of protests started when Netanyahu suddenly fired his own defense minister because he supported halting the judicial reform, which is what Netanyahu himself did only 2 days later. So it's very chaotic right now in Israel, and trying to predict a linear development is almost impossible.
Fascinating insight into the topic. Amir Oren, thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World. Really appreciate your taking out the time.